So, welcome to the Energy Star Talk. Alice Merton today here. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Du sprichst auch Deutsch.
Yes.
But we're doing it in English.
If that's okay for you guys.
Totally fine. And you're living in Berlin. Why did you end up here?
Well, I met my producer here. His name is Nicholas Rapture, and he has a studio at a place called the Funkhaus. And I did a session with him a year ago and realized that I wanted him to do the album. So I said I would move here.
And what do you like about that city? And what do you like about what do you think is worth living here or staying longer?
I love the atmosphere. I love the people. There's always something going on. And it's actually the first city where I actually feel like I'm coming home. I haven't had that in a lot of cities I've lived in. So it's nice.
And what are your favorite places and spots here in Berlin?
Oh, good question.
What would you do if friends from abroad would come? Sorry, would come here.
I love the Bergmann Kiez. I think they have so many nice restaurants and cafes. I like going to the Mauerpark. When I was doing my internship, I went to the Mauerpark every weekend and watched the karaoke. That was fun. What else? I also just love walking through the middle of the city and just in the different Kiezes that are all around. Yeah.
And I've got a little questionnaire for you so that we get to know you a bit more personally.
Okay.
And very easy questions. You will see. First one is your full name, please. Because
my full name.
We want to know what's your middle name is.
Yes. My full name is Alice Florence Clarissa Merton.
Two middle names.
Two middle names.
And what does your mom call you?
My mom calls me Alicina.
That's quite nice.
A little strange, but yeah.
And what's your place of birth?
I was born in Frankfurt.
Frankfurt. But you grew up in Canada?
I grew up in Canada and the US.
And would you say that you're a typical Canadian US girl?
There are some typical Canadian traits about me. Like I love maple syrup. I love putting it on everything. Pancakes, cereal. What else? I love Tim Hortons. Most people don't know that people who live in Europe. But it's like a cafe. It's like a chain. But they have really good Timbits, and I love Timbits.
What are Timbits?
They're like these. In Germany, they're called like Quarkbällchen, but they're not. They're actually something different in Canada because they look like Quarkbällchen, but they have different flavors. So there's like chocolate glaze, there's honey glaze, there's I think all natural or plain. Then there's like ones with jelly in them. So they're like the middle parts of donuts.
So next time you're coming to us, please bring some.
I will.
And you've been quite around in your life. Where have you lived?
I've lived so I was born in Frankfurt, but then after 3 months I moved to New York. I lived in New York, then I lived in Canada, in Oakville. Then I lived in Munich. I lived in Bournemouth. I lived in Augsburg. I lived in Mannheim. I lived in Berlin. Those are the main cities.
And what's the favorite place?
I really liked growing up in Oakville. But my favorite place, I love Bournemouth. Because it's right on the beach in England, and I love running on the beach and just waking up to the water. So it's really nice.
Next question would be the first concert you've been to.
The first concert I've ever been to was like pop concert or normal, like just any random.
Any random.
It was actually a classical concert by an opera singer whose name was Renee Fleming.
And do you remember your own first concert yet?
Yes, I remember that. It was when I was 17, and it was in Munich, and I had been writing songs for just like a year, and it was with me and my guitar and a band that was just put together with guys I met, and I played a song called Little Lighthouse.
And on a scale from 1 to 10, how nervous were you?
I was really nervous. Very, very nervous. So 1 to 10, like 10.
And next question would be the first record you've bought.
The first record I bought was a record from the Alan Parsons Project called Stereotomy.
And can you name 3 artists that inspired you, or that inspire you for your own music and mean a lot to you?
Well, one of the artists that inspire me is a woman called Regina Spektor, and it's because of her that I kind of fell in love with songwriting. I just love her quirkiness and her attitude, and her lyrics are just amazing. So her, and then I was also a huge fan of Ed Sheeran. I loved his first album, also the second one. And The Killers were a very influential band for me.
And if you could pick any musician to work with, who would that be?
Wow. I think I would pick, I'm just trying to think if I should pick a male or a female artist. Like a collaboration, or just to work on a song with?
Doesn't matter.
Well, I just met a guy named Bosse. I went on tour with him, and I've fallen in love with all of his songs, so I'd love to do like a collaboration with him.
And do you have any hobbies and talents apart from the music?
Talents, I'm not sure, but I like to bake. Like, baking calms me a lot, so I bake brownies and cinnamon cake, and I like apple strudel, and so baking. I go running. What other hobbies do I have? I like watching movies. Movies are like, they're huge for me.
That's what we read. What's your favorite movie of all time?
Oh, that's so difficult. That's like saying what's your favorite song?
Maybe 3. Your top 3.
My top 3 favorite movies. The Notebook. I know it's cheesy, but it's an amazing film. I loved Slumdog Millionaire, and I also loved the movie, I think it was called Bridge to Terabithia.
And could you imagine to do something in the film business, or?
Not yet, to be honest. I don't think I'm that good of an actress to say that I could be in a movie, but I guess you never know what the future brings.
And coming now from the hobbies and talents to the bad habits, do you have any?
I bite my lips a lot. Like, I get told off by everyone. It's like, I'll stop biting your lips. So biting my lips, and oh yeah, I always leave glasses everywhere. So when I'm home, I don't just take out one glass and drink from it. I leave like, I forget which glass was mine, and I always think, oh, someone else has drunk out of that one. So I take out like 10 glasses, and then in my house there's like 10 glasses everywhere, and it drives my parents crazy.
And coming now to your music, when did you start making music?
My own music, or like when did I start playing?
You started playing.
Well, I started playing the piano when I was very young, so I started when I was like 5. But songwriting, I only started when I was like 16 or 17.
And was there a point that, a definite point that you knew that you wanted to do that for a living?
To be honest, I didn't ever think that I would be good enough to do it for a living. I was just kind of always doing it as a hobby, because my parents were also very strict. They're like, Alice, you have to study something proper. And then I think once I started studying songwriting, that's when I kind of realized I want to do this professionally.
And No Roots is also the title of the EP, but also the song, your first single.
Yes.
Can you tell us what it's about and what it means to you?
It's basically about my life story. It's about the fact that I've moved around very often, I think like around 11 times, and that I realized through this song that my home was never really in one certain place, because I get asked a lot, where do you feel your home is, or where are you from? And I'm like, I don't know. So I came up with the idea of having no roots.
And do you see advantages of having no roots and being home everywhere?
There are advantages, definitely, of being more open to new situations and kind of being more relaxed. And when it comes to meeting people, like, I would get really, really nervous when I'd meet new people. And through moving a lot and also changing schools, I kind of got used to opening up and not being so scared of everything.
And if you had to, develop roots, which place would it be?
That is a good question. Like when I'm older, or I think if I'm older, I would say in Bournemouth in England.
Bournemouth again.
Yeah.
It's still your heart.
Well, it's so beautiful. Like there's a beach and my parents are there, and I always grew up without grandparents. So, because mine live in like Chicago and in Ireland, and I just think it would be nice if I had children one day that they could be near my parents, their grandparents.
And coming up, there's a show. Your tour is coming up
Yes.
also, and 22nd of March, you're playing here also in Berlin, your hometown at the moment. Is it the official, your official first gig here?
It's not my official first gig here. I've played actually at the Auster Club about like 2 years ago with my band. So I think this is like the third time I'm playing here, but this is it's more official this time because now there are actually songs out that we've released that people know. So I'm very nervous, but I'm also very excited.
What do you do against stage fright?
I was thinking about this morning, actually. I'm like, how do I cope with this?
Schnapps, maybe.
Actually, no, I don't drink. I focus on breathing. And I have a very good support team that kind of like, sometimes they hold my hand or they, I don't know, I tell myself this is what I love doing and it's what I want to be doing for the rest of my life. So that helps, and just breathing.
And last question, you're 23?
Yes.
And you've seen nearly half of the world already. You've got an EP out.
Yeah.
You've got a single that's, great and doing so fine.
Thank you.
And you have your own music label?
I do, yeah.
Do you still have some goals for the near future? Or is it already
crossed off everything? I definitely have goals. For me, it was the first step of many. I'm like delighted that it worked out this way, that we could release No Roots with our own label, and that there was no one in the back saying, "Oh, you can't release this song like that. This part has to be changed." But I think the goal is to just keep on doing music, keep on making music that people enjoy, that I enjoy, and playing lots of concerts. That's one of the best parts about being a musician.
So hopefully seeing you soon.
I hope so too.
Come back anytime.
Thank you.
And thanks so much for the interview.
Well, thank you for the invitation.